All right, here we go again. Buckle up. So it's not to penalize, again, the facial recognition bills and laws may be a personal vendetta. Again, we're not going to flip script. We're not going to play games. Does law enforcement harass people via investigations? Obviously, I've spoke on that. Obviously, where I've posted, I've asked them not to do that. Whether they do it or not, I don't know in any particular department unless I've lived there. So what we're looking at here is the idea that the political or the elected person may actually be being taken advantage of by someone else. So we need to investigate it on several fronts. They could be complicit. The elected official could be complicit. The elected official could be bribed. The elected official could be extorted. The elected official could be non-complicit. Could be all of the above. That's why we investigate. Well, again, I identified the threat, and they went with it. I imagine. Again, they removed my X account because they don't want to attribute me with all of the intelligence work that I did for law enforcement and analyst work. I'll pay now because somebody's going to be a multimillionaire off of what I suggested. Oh, when he was in the FBI, he said this. When it's just parroting what I say. Or she said this. So, or as she works for Facebook or X, and they transferred the information and said it was their people that came up with it, that kind of thing. The criminal enterprise, no doubt. So, Mexico and its narcos have spies that work against the United States and their people. I don't care how you feel about it by calling it immigrant or whatever it is. Mexicans have hostilely taken over large swaths of the United States for criminal purpose. And there are others. So to make sure, what was that man's name? I'm not even sure. Let me take a look here. I think he's an assemblyman or something. Let me see here. Actually, no, I think he's let me get to my Facebook here. I guess it was a cue that X was supposed to be Twitter was supposed to be my ex to get away from it. Yeah. It's like an ex-wife. Get rid of it. I missed the cue. All right. So Allegheny County Council. I don't know. Do they have that guy's name? No, they want me to pay to read it. All right. The Allegheny County Council might be under deep state attack. And they feel if they don't pass that bill, that they will, suffer in their life. I'm going to turn this up a notch. I got something crazy going on. I could use a different interface and not have to worry about this, but we're going to go with this for now. I got it's on 3, I guess, there. Usually up on 25. I can't adjust some sort of volume meter on my PC here. So, they could be extorted, they could be bribed, they could be both. Like, again, extortionists like to bribe the person they're extorting when the thing they're extorting isn't necessarily money. They're actually extorting them, whoever they are, the council, they're maybe even staff members, to do what they want, which is possibly pass that facial recognition bill. It's not lawful to put that constraint on the federal government. Intelligence is what it is. Now, here, you like speaking about immigrants and Mexico and the ballerina of Mexico, whatever her name is, Shambam or Shambam or whatever she is. What's it? Sham Scam. That's it. Mexico operates with masks and has done so for over 15 years, or for just about 15 years, I think. I'd have to look, but it definitely 15 years, I think. So, she's your liberal darling, but her whole country of people that investigate these type of people, you have to understand something. There's cameras everywhere. I don't even think the feeds are secure. Again, Iran can pump in there. So what can they see? And they send your photo off to Russia to find out who you are, or China. Right. So again, we're not here to play games. Now, you may have officers that play games with you. I call them corrupt. And they are. You've just dumbed down what corruption is over the years. So again, the Allegheny County Council may be under siege to pass that law. Chinese intelligence may be financing it, and the narcos are carrying it out. Or the mosques in Pittsburgh. Again, it's not Islamophobia because we have evidence that it's happening. What is Islamophobia if I hate Zoran just because he's Islamic? That would be Islamophobia. But he knows the truth, that there is reason to be cautious around certain Islamic people. And that is the identifier. They're not longshoremen, or some are longshoremen, but they're, the central binding factor is not longshoremen, it's not retail salespeople, it's not Amazon employees. Although they may be those things, we won't investigate Amazon employees. We won't be cautious around Amazon employees just because they're an Amazon employee. But dirty Amazon employees could be those people in Islam that have expressed extremist tendencies, to include to disenfranchise their neighbor of any right they could have because they're not Islamic. It's in Christianity, but it's a lot smaller. And although people in Christianity have had sex with your kids, they're not articulating it. So what do I identify it as Islam has a requirement to police its own ranks. And it's failing in that aspect at this point, and probably was 10 years ago. That's what they, I yelled at the FBI. I said, you embrace an Islamic mosque and then you arrest them. Couldn't you do something else? Unless the whole thing was an undercover operation, which I don't think it was. Well, they did an outreach and then they found that they had received money from some Palestinians. Or no, from PLO, or sent money to PLO or something. So again, I'm not here just to say it's this thing or that thing for the sake of some political purpose. So it's not Islamophobia to act on valid intelligence. And that valid intelligence at this point has been shown to us. I myself was pretty shocked when Texas said you can't have whatever that facility is called, I think Epic or something. Whatever. But I received a blip psychically. It'll make sense. We still don't have all the intelligence. There's information that they gleaned from that network of people that would make it like a cult. The jihadist cult to a certain degree. They don't have to be strictly a violent takeover. They could be a hostile takeover entity. The United States has specific law, specific constitution. They're not allowed to come against it. In reality, it's probably light what they did because they could have stung it and probably charged them with sedition in the long run. You don't have to if you're planning to overthrow the Constitution, you can be arrested. So again, at first I was like, it doesn't sound like it's going to, it's religious, and then again they're releasing that information now. Not Texas, because Texas passed the intelligence they had probably onto the federal government, and that's why you didn't see anybody really sticking up for it, because it's all this information about overthrowing the Constitution and creating our own world. And assimilation is important. It's not stripping you of your identity. All our people did it, and that's how the United States succeeded. It's a melting pot. It isn't you get to have your 10 square mile area of your community to deal dope and not assimilate. And in fact, this is how we stop what's going on that causes the need for deportation, so that they can live a well life, structured life, understand what's required of them. You can't have sex with your neighbor's 12-year-old kid. That's a big one, believe it or not. And the part that you're all not willing to come to grips with, and again, I'm getting kind of off topic, but these are the people we're dealing with, is the fact that immigrants are being harmed. There are immigrants that are afraid to speak up, that will say, yes, because you left them into my community, or my daughter got raped. And you're saying criminal. We can go back 365 days, and maybe this is what I should do. Go back 365 days and show us people that have no criminal, aliens, illegal aliens that have no criminal charge. And then find how many have criminal charge now today. In 365 days, they were covered. They shouldn't be picked up for nothing. You see, that's law enforcement. You're not law enforcement. Allegheny Council is not law enforcement. I don't care if you have that, what do they call it, the Citizens Review Board or not. They're not even law enforcement, which means your neighborhoods are suffering because you're not law enforcement. Now, law enforcement is suffering because many law enforcement officers became corrupt and joined the deep state. They'll tell you they're anti-deep state, but it's a form of deep state. There are Republican deep states, there are Democrat deep states, and there's libertarian deep states, and whatever Tucker Carlson is, deep states. Opportunist deep states. He's politically opportunist. So, but the idea is this: those people want the identities. You want the identities. You want them to, actually, you don't even say that. See, I just want to, it's a form of doxing. Those laws are a form of doxing. These no mask. I didn't put no mask up there. I'm thinking about the mask laws. Right. That's what they really are. I mean, it was like I didn't even know I put that up there. I meant to put mask, but it's facial. They're actually facial recognition bill and laws that allow people to use facial recognition to know everything they can about our officers, and that's not valid, considering we're dealing with global terrorist and global narcotics organizations. And I'll tell you right now, I said it before and it's still true. If they have a 10 square mile area thickly populated with foreigners, mostly illegal aliens, like in Chicago, it's much more difficult for DEA to get to the bottom of everything. And again, they have caseloads that they can't get to the next case. And that's by design. I believe bribes are being received in Chicago. I told you that 15, 20 years ago. That's one of the first places I identified as receiving narco bribes. Right, that may have been it too. Somebody's bringing up in the mind that they erased my account after I said erase the officer's history so that they can't identify him or use it against him. Maybe even give them a new identity. So again, X is probably working for narcos. Their boss is a narco, there's no doubt, and at least pro narco, but I believe he's a narco. But that's partly how he made his early money. You have tons of people who feign high society and big hooties fanooties, and they made their money through sex trafficking and narcotics trafficking. And then at a certain point, they cut ties with that and invested the money and then cut ties with it. But that doesn't make it okay. And they feigned it. We're high society. We're law and order. Turned out to be narcos and sex traffickers that invested their money. So these bills, it allows facial recognition. These no mask bills and laws allow for facial recognition. Mexico is not allowed for facial recognition. I believe at least 15 years. We can Google that. Now we have this AI world. AI. When did Mexico law enforcement start using masks? Well, she's your liberal darling. At least the mid 2010s. I begged it. Right. So 16 years or so. So your liberal darlings country still uses masks after 16 years. So again, I don't know what's going on. FBI doesn't know what's going on. But we know you're mirroring the desires of narcos, of terrorists, of organized crime members of various design. Because they run a spycraft program of extortion and racketeering. And they want to know who they need to extort next, who they need to, for lack of a better term, psychologically operate and psychologically torture and isolate into wearing big boobies. We don't want our ICE agents wearing big boobies. So therefore, we want their identity protected from your buddies. And that's how bad it can be. The Allegheny City Council may have been bribed by these people for the last 15 years, 16 years, 20 years even, maybe. Just get us the identity of the facial identity of those officers, and we'll handle it from there. No doubt Newsom's one of them. Newsom just revealed himself with an excited utterance because he's so frustrated of all the fraud being found in his state. Decided to call Nick Shirley a pervert. Told you about that scam for about 20 years. So we realized that we had issue because Russia was producing our stuff, and I agreed, we need to bring it back to U.S. Just in case war, we need to be able to produce things. And what do? We throw Elon Musk in there because rocket engines and stuff like that was part of it. I mean, come on. Find some native-born U.S. citizens who have respect for this nation, not respect for foreign intelligence who is going to enrich them and empower them to be the masters of the universe. So again, these are the people, even Elon Musk. We don't want him to know the identities, which is why there was a big hubbubaloo about him accessing and his people accessing certain databases. Same thing. So again, that's what those laws are, facial recognition laws, so that our officers can be facially recognized by criminal enterprises and criminal spy operations. Russia, they wear masks. Do you know why? They don't want, what's Lachenko, whatever his name is, Belarus. They wear masks. Why? They don't want to be facially recognized. As criminals? Why is it criminal? Is Mexico a criminal for arresting narcos? Oh no, that's liberal darling. That's liberal darling. She does no wrong. If a Mexican president walks around with zero security, she's part of the problem. She would not do that if narcos were going to come after her. You can play your scam and your little game because you got the trillions of dollars of blood money, the narco money that they paid into your worlds. But there is a God, and hell is coming. And that's not a threat. That's a promise. And it's not me acting out physically, because that's their next thought. It's a metaphysical truth. The planet is correcting. I don't know how long it'll last or how far it'll go, but it's beginning to correct. So again, if you're getting investigated, it's no big thing. Again, I don't understand this idea, and the Trump administration said it too, where people in Congress and the Senate can't be investigated. If you ask me, and again, it's true. I mean, anybody 30 years ago would think this. The first person to be investigated is the House and the Senate. If you don't investigate them, who are you going to investigate? They're all cleared for all sorts of stuff. No, we're going to investigate somebody who ain't got no money, ain't got no way, ain't got no place in life, because that's where you want it focused, all of you. We'll call innocent people Epstein and let Epstein do what he wants. They just found Swalwell. That's an Epstein. That's the scam. But when they call innocent people Epstein, Brian Noem, and operate them, that's the cue to sexualize that person. I'll tell you, and I brought it up. It's funny because I brought it up within months of Brian Noem being the whole thing being discovered. I mean, they probably knew it and were planning it. They're probably trying to take them further into something. Again, that's what I would do, is check the increment of it. When did it increase? It probably increased when she became secretary, because they continued to operate in more present fashion, which it appears to be. Because during that period, the woman shut off some of that time with him because he was spending so much money. I wouldn't see. They're going to use the false psychology where it's just that she became the secretary. No, they increased operation and sexualization using also algorithms, his news feed, social media feeds, so on and so forth. I began speaking about the spycraft effort, the deep state effort, before you called it deep state, in Border Patrol deaths, the suicides. I told them, no, they are not killing themselves just because they're weak people or anything. Actually, they're probably the stronger people at some point. Maybe in the end they weren't, but in your department agency. They're being sexualized, or being attacked in the mind, being drugged, just so they could hire those people that you eventually discovered and put in prison for being affiliated with the narcos to begin with. See, if I take your employees out that are honest, I can maybe get one of our dishonest people in there if I were a narco or something like that. That's what the suicides were about. Opening up positions for narco spies to enter into Border Patrol, ICE, etc. Again, I sounded that alert back when the suicides picked up, and even possibly beforehand with the Bush administration and those crazy incarcerations of Border Patrol agents who were dealt with extreme conditions. Again, I'm not saying it was a bad shoot. I don't remember the guy's name, but I was in on that case with that lawyer as far as social media. I forget the lawyer's name, Spanish guy. But there's law that says even a bad shoot is a good shoot if certain conditions exist and certain things were known and unknown, or even thought to be known but turned out to be false. And as far as what you're all doing now with the videos, this all ties in, believe me. What you're doing with those videos where you dissect them and go, look, here's where the officer pulled the trigger. This is where this person did this. There's at least 1 second between the decision to pull the trigger and that bullet coming out of the end of the gun, because that's what you're looking at. But I think it's almost probably more like 2 seconds. But then to stop it, it takes time. Again, under those conditions, a guy with a gun, there's more push to pull the trigger. So it's harder to stop the trigger from going or the bullets from going. So that's why you see, 2 or 3 rounds sometimes. It's human frailty, neural response, how the mind works, the brain works. It's not a deficient officer. It's just we're all human. So how does it tie into this? That officer has to make a split-second decision, but you want them exposed, especially the ICE people, so their identities can be found out and they can be operated into a state of mind where they're apt. Because that's one of the reasons I left the Marshal Service. I said, I know what they're doing, and I know how the psychology is working to a certain degree. I didn't know everything, but I said I could pull my gun at the wrong moment and not pull my gun at the right moment, based upon what they're doing to me right now here in the courthouse and stalking me outside the courthouse. I was drugged, man. Jonathan Luna was definitely drugged. That's what led to his death, psychological operation and being drugged. And then you'll say, well, he's weak. We were strong and we went through it. No, you're corrupt. When you went through it, it was a scam to make you believe everybody goes through it. And the ones that don't pass are weak or criminal or worse. Again, many of you were not people I worked with, but a lot of you were military. You don't understand OPSEC. You don't understand how the spies work. Maybe you just don't care because you're getting your money, your big pools, your big cars. And again, Allegheny County Council. Maybe they got their big pools, their big cars, their big houses, and they don't care that officers are facially recognized by criminal entities and spy entities globally. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.